Okay, 9:16 a.m. Thursday, September 5th, 2019 in Sarasota, Florida. Only going to give myself about 10, at most 15 minutes here. Again, I'm working to mix creativity with these traveling trips. About to really accelerate this is the bulk of my Ironman season, even though I've worked a number of races already. The bulk of my season, over half of it, is jammed into this next 2.5 month period. About to leave for Lake Placid, so I've got levels of anxiety, excitement, nervousness. This past stretch at home, they continue to not be what I desire. I definitely am still struggling when I'm home, which is really a good deal to process for me, because in my mind that's where I really want to be full time, is here doing my work, at least here a lot more than I presently am. And right now, in this present moment, being here in Sarasota and being in my home has actually not been the most, the most fun and the most positive experience. So it's really kind of an interesting mix of things, because it's, I think, guiding me to really try to enjoy these trips more. The biggest reason I struggle in enjoying them, one, the nature of the work is not particularly aspects of the jobs I do, the various jobs I do, align with me. But in work areas, I get bored very quickly. I need to keep expanding. And what I've learned the hard way in my adulthood is our jobs still, in general, are pretty specific when you get in there. And companies do attempt to have you grow with them, but my experience was I was at a pace that was far outpacing the system within which I was trying to expand. I'm there with Ironman, with the work. The people know, man, there's no challenge to work with the people I work with. Like, no challenge. It's the nature of the job, and at an underlying place, the overall intention of the work. Like I said, I'm really working, I'm not judging the for-profit model where, as it exists. I'm just kind of out there proposing and trying to be an example of a for-profit business model where we try to take into the economic equation, things that are very challenging to take into account, namely the environment and humans, and actually exist within a system, that business, that is not hierarchy, not based on a hierarchy, but truly based on communication and trust and open agreements, and equal respect for whatever the roles are, not this huge disparity of my role is, $300,000 a year, your role is $20,000 a year. I mean, that is something I really struggle. I struggle being in almost every nonprofit or profit alike. That's how our business models exist, and that's great, and it works for some people. It's never worked for me. I don't think I'm alone in that, and all I'm trying to do is, with my company, is be an example from the ground up, from the inception up, something that's really fucking different. In the meantime, I have to keep paying bills. I'm building something from scratch that I really can't describe with words, so it's going to take a while to attract some opportunities to earn money, which is to say, to find the audience to whom that has value, because that's all money is. It's an exchange. It's just arbitrary, yet we seem to think it's not as arbitrary as it really is. Paper and now zeros and ones on a computer screen, in terms of it's just an exchange of energy and an exchange of value. So I'm digressing too far. Bring it back. Only have a few minutes. It's really been a journey, and a big part of it, to go through the creation of my own thing, which almost nobody knows about and nobody yet can see or understand. So it's very isolating, very solo, very, oh my God, most challenging thing I've ever done. And simultaneously I'm paying the bills with, oh my God, certainly the most perfect job for exactly where I am right now, which is why it's in my life. But, because there are aspects of it where, lots of aspects of it, where I don't have something else like that yet clearly available and as an option for me, something that reflects back to me such a, the way I see me. It's a high reflection, there's a lot of thriving energy, there's a lot of light, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of love energy, being directed, in all sorts of ways, but love is love, passion is passion. It's an energy where it's palpable, it affects you, and for those who are, it can either feed you to thrive or scares the shit out of you and makes you want to hide. And I'm ready to soar. I'm ready to soar. I'm ready to finally do what I intended to do in my adulthood, in my work life, because I haven't had a chance yet to, and it's not about ego. It's about what my soul came here to do. It's about what, it's not about getting pats on the back. It's not about trying to impress anybody. It's not even anymore about proving anything to me. What I've proven to myself, what I can do these past 7 years has been, oh my God, enough proof for myself that I need. I don't want to try to create anything, I'm not intending to create anything that challenging and that intense ever again. Now I'm just to this point where I'm just trying to be as real and as authentic as I am on the inside, and not be afraid anymore of how it's affecting other people. In my very close relationships, my entire life, since I was in early high school, my greater experience by far has been that my light, if you will, has scared the shit out of the people closest to me and really triggered a lot of layers of fear in them, projected back at me that I didn't know how to not accept. And I believe and know that my soul chose all of this. But it's been very challenging to get out, to give myself the space to be able to first feel self-love and encouragement of myself and no doubt and all these supportive things that I've really never felt from anybody close to me, ever. Parents, grandparents, siblings, cousins. Once we got out of middle school and actually became kind of really, independent young beings, haven't experienced that kind of genuine closeness and as an adult with friends or family. And because I seem to go, it's like the depth of how I feel things and see things scares the crap out of most people. And what I have found is that there's different thresholds. Like I met some people at Microsoft that were at that time the highest threshold. I gotta finish up here. My Uber's coming in 15 minutes. So this really wasn't, I really just wanted to capture, this is 9:25 a.m., September 5th, heading to Lake Placid, New York. Have a lot of anxious energy going through me, and this should be a really good event. I've never been to this event, so that's sort of exciting. I've been to Lake Placid it's one of the only events I've been to every season, the fall. In July, it was my first ever event in the new role for which I was recruited in end of June of 2015. So it all sort of really began this very distinct, real time with Ironman as a contract employee. I worked for them in some races, a couple in 2014 and one in early 2015, but it was Lake Placid 2015 in July where this segment really took off. I was now in a position where I would be working pretty much what's considered a full season. 12 events, I think, is considered. I mean, it varies because there's a lot of people who pick up these gigs in the summertime, either that are teachers or that have vacation time with their regular jobs. So 6 might be a full season for them. It varies, but 12 to 18, anything over 15 events is a shit ton. Of course, it depends too on the role that you play, and it depends on whether it's a half distance or a full distance, because there's no joke, the full distances are, I don't think they're fun. I don't know directly of many people that would say they're fun working, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the site, what we call the site guys, if they, and the course guys, did think it was fun. I would love to get into a role in it where it was more fun, because right now that day feels a great deal like work. And, 19-hour, what usually ends up being 18, 19-hour workday, very little sleep, and then finishing up work the next day and a long travel day is not, it's hard, and it gets harder for my body to recover. And then you add the emotional component that I very much have because of the pets and what used to be my relationship. And I went off on a tangent there, but I was trying to say Lake Placid holds deep meaning to me. So going to this event there is exciting. It's also going to be very chilly. 30s is one night, the race morning might very well be in the upper 30s. So I'm excited for that, but probably we'll end up finding out that I didn't pack properly. I've got it down where I get ready for these trips. I wouldn't even say I went into full mode until 7 a.m. this morning, so that's pretty amazing. That I can almost treat like a 4-day Ironman trip like an overnight local trip. Because again, the more I can flow with it all is going to help me, and it's going to help the cats. I have had some powerful intuitions pertaining to this specific event, both because of the location and the time of it, but also because of, and more importantly, because of the people, the race director and the regional and area directors. Basically the top kind of from the race director, and then the 2 other, one guy, one girl, that are above the race director, sort of regionally. Those personalities and their energy and how well they work together. I've had a couple of ideas of, some of my ideas, what I call with my company, and trying to merge it into the Ironman world. A couple of them have been linked to these people and or this event. So I am very much scoping out the energy because each one, even year to year, is entirely different, even if it's the same distance in the same city with a lot of the same people. By nature of the fact that we're outside in the elements, that alone means it is never the same. I think that's part of the excitement, the dynamic nature of this work is why it attracts the personalities such as myself and the other folks I work with. Like, that's the adrenaline part, I think, that's just kind of exciting and fun. It can get really real too, because as awesome as some of the highs are that we've seen and the things to celebrate, shit can go wrong. We're dealing with the elements, we're dealing with human beings, and we're dealing with, there's no denying our races take place within the cities that we're going into. So there are traffic concerns, and so shit can go wrong. And that makes it really real. So yeah, the dream is to have these smooth running events, each and every event, but you need to have people in place who can handle it in the small likelihood, the small statistical likelihood that something goes wrong, and then the various levels of things that can go wrong. Because there's, as with everything, there's the degrees of, when something needs to be addressed. There's something small that needs to be addressed, and then in some races, some bigger shit needs to be addressed. So, yeah, I've never been to this event, so I'm excited to get a feel for it. I'm in the lead VIP role, which is, I like being in lead roles. I love the balance I have. When I'm in an assist role, almost all the pressure is pretty much all the pressure, there's no pressure on me at all. It's like, I just have to go and whatever I'm told to do it, and prepare to work all day, every day, you know, just be prepared to work, that's it, which is no problem for me. I don't mind not being social, that doesn't bother me. And I have no trouble taking direction, you know? So I love that role, but I definitely need to mix it up, sometimes being the lead, because, you know, having more responsibility, it makes it a completely different experience. This one, again, based on races, events, all these different layers, very specific to Ironman and then very specific to my role. The caterer and how this one is set up makes it where I'm not even going to have to take deliveries, which can be kind of a nightmare. Taking catering deliveries while the race is in progress, depending on what you have to navigate around the course. And that's very anxiety riding for me. I don't like being in the golf cart, you know, with all these catering dishes, you know, going through hordes of people and pets, and little kids. I don't like that part. And so the fact that this one is all right there on site is unbelievable. It means that this really should be a pretty enjoyable weekend. If I can mitigate the worry that I always have about leaving the cats, but they're in Kathy's hands and they couldn't be in better hands. And we had a really good past 24 hours. Pina ate remarkably well this morning, so I'm gonna just leave it at that, and I'm leaning towards only recording a little bit when I come back. Monday, maybe as late as Tuesday, and then I'm kind of this will be my last stint home until the long stretch. So intuition kind of tells me that I might be, I don't know, I feel like not public for those 2 weeks, and to really give myself, oh my gosh, you know, the mental training to get through, particularly to get through the last week of September through November 4th. That is a no joke. Home only, you know, like in that span 7 days, I think. So that's going to be, I really want to be focused, need to be focused on that. So, okay, off to Placid we go.